Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. Today we're going to be talking about microwaves, and we'd like to thank Jim Carone for liking and sharing the podcast. At the Chicago World's Fair in 1933, Westinghouse cooked food with microwaves, and the machine looked like something out of a Frankenstein movie. It had these big coils and wires coming out of a refrigerator-sized device, and it had two plates that you put food in between. And that's how they were microwaving.
It's more like a monster movie.
Yes.
Than Frankenstein.
No, it looked like something out of Frankenstein's castle. It's fantastic. You got to look it up. It's fantastic looking. In 1946, Dr. Percy Spencer of the Raytheon Corporation was working with magnetrons used for radar and found that a candy bar had melted in his pocket. So he thought it was maybe the microwaves.
Not his pocket?
So he put some popcorn by the magnetron and it popped it. And the next day he brought an egg in, put it next to the magnetron, it started to shake, and then it exploded. And you should still never put an egg in a microwave. And the first countertop microwave was developed in 1967. Microwaves still use a magnetron to generate microwaves, and
I think it should be more impressive when you say magnetron. Like magnetron.
I say it so much I'll be worn out. So the microwaves are directed through channels in the body of the microwave into the food compartment. And some microwaves have a metal device to bounce the waves around and spreading it out. But the inside compartment is made of metal, so it bounces the microwaves. And most manufacturers are going to have a turntable that spins or a plate that's moving back and forth so the microwaves are evenly distributed onto your food. Because as they come out of these channels, they actually create static columns of microwaves. Okay. So your food would be cooked unevenly. And that glass in the door has a metal screen so you can see into the body of the microwave, but the microwaves can't come through that glass. That metal screen is actually bouncing it back onto the food.
That's good.
Interesting, huh?
I'm familiar with how a microwave looks, by the way.
Microwaves are like radio waves, and they're only interacting with your food while the unit's on. When you turn it off, no energy remains, so it's not making your food radioactive.
That's good.
The microwaves, they can pass through glass, plastic, and ceramic as long as there isn't anything metal in it. So you want to make sure that you're cooking with microwave-safe cookware. Some of the soft plastics can actually melt, but it's from the heat of the food or the liquids. And some microwaves are going to allow certain metal containers, but you want to check your manual. Large metal pans will actually reflect the microwaves back to the magnetron and potentially damage it. And you never want to turn on the microwave without food or liquids in it, because then the microwaves, they bounce back and damage the magnetron. There are specialized metal racks in some microwaves that allow you to cook on two levels. They're thick with smooth edges, and this is allowing the microwaves to bounce around without arcing or causing sparks. Thin metal like aluminum foil can actually heat up and catch on fire if you don't have the edges folded down properly, or if the edges are too close to the walls inside the microwave.
Wow.
And metal items like a fork with sharp edges or pointy tines can build up electrons and cause sparking. Wild, huh?
Yes. So how are microwaves actually cooking the food?
So most people think it's just heating up water or vibrating the water inside food.
Are they right or wrong?
But partially. So microwaves are being absorbed by the water, the fats, and sugar in the food you're cooking. It's causing the water molecules to vibrate and generate heat. But scientists think it also might be absorbing this energy and releasing it as heat, so they still don't really understand the mechanism fully. The CDC's reported cases of food poisoning because of cold spots in food cooked in microwaves.
So do they mean like cooking?
Yeah, if you cook.
Or like if you're warming up something that was already cooked?
No, cooking. So if you take a piece of meat, for example, it needs to be cooked very thoroughly.
Well, of course. Like anytime you're cooking meat.
So chicken, for example. Normally you'd want chicken at 165 degrees Fahrenheit if you're using a meat thermometer, but the CDC is saying if you're cooking chicken in a microwave, you need to get the temperature up to at least 180 degrees.
Wow.
So much hotter, so that there's no cool spots, because they say that you're getting food poisoning because of these static waves. If it's not rotating properly or moving back and forth properly, you can have an area in the meat that you're cooking that doesn't get hot enough to kill bacteria like salmonella.
Right.
So they're saying that the energy of the microwave is being absorbed just below the surface of the food, and then it's being transferred inward and outward. So it's not heating from the center out like a lot of people think. And then they're also saying make sure you're allowing your food to rest before you eat it, so there's more time for the heat to transfer to the cooler spots.
So like in the microwave, leave it in the microwave?
Well, anywhere, just to rest. So once you've cooked it, you need to use a meat thermometer and then allow it to rest for a few minutes so that you make sure that the heat is transferred throughout it. And make sure that it's moving. So if you have a microwave with a turntable, you can't put in like a dish or a plate that stops it from turning.
Okay.
It needs to be moving. I found it interesting that they're saying the food thickness, moisture, density, fat, and sugars are going to affect proper heating.
Right. So you should use a meat thermometer. So just because you cooked it last time and it took 10 minutes, it could take longer.
Right. Depending on the thickness or the amount of fat, it's going to cook differently. There are three main styles of microwaves: countertop, over the range, sometimes marked OTR, and built-in. Countertop microwaves are going to come in a variety of sizes. Most are compared by the interior cubic feet or capacity. So the cubic feet is length times width times height in inches divided by 1728.
Why? Is this just a random number? Or?
1728, 12 inches times 12 inches times 12 inches, converting inches to feet.
Exciting.
Math. So companies are going to vary in their categories for size, but in general, a compact size is going to be under 1 cubic feet, mid-size 1 to 1.5 cubic feet, full size 1.6 to 2 cubic feet, and extra large or family size is going to be over 2 cubic feet. But I would say the main thing when you're looking at a microwave is, what size plates or bowls are you going to be using?
Right.
Kind of measure that and make sure that if you have a turntable style, it's going to be able to turn. Some countertop microwaves come with a kit to convert it to a built-in style. So there's vents built into the framing.
Right.
The built-in microwaves are great to free up counter space, and they're usually the easiest to install when you're planning a kitchen remodel.
Right.
That way you can incorporate it into the kitchen design. Many are going to sit under the countertop and will have drawers or a small cabinet under the microwave. And you need to make sure that you're thinking about the electric, because you need to run that to the back of the unit if you're doing a remodel. You have over-the-countertop microwaves that go into the upper cabinets, and some kitchens put the built-in microwaves over a wall oven. And there's also microwave and wall oven combination units now.
No
and
way.
they're very cool, and they're integrated. There's a unique type of built-in microwave called a drawer style. You press a button and the drawer opens up so that you can put your food into it.
Wow, space age.
Yeah, very cool. Over-the-range microwaves are installed over a stovetop or a range and have a ventilation system to replace a hood vent. 30 inches wide is the most common size to fit under an upper cabinet. 36 inches is another popular size, but you're matching the size of the range, so the width of the range or the cabinet above it when you're looking at it. I would also check the amount of fan speeds. The more you have, the better, and the CFMs, so the cubic feet per minute that the air is being moved. Many pros recommend fan speeds above 250 CFMs. 300 is common. 400 CFMs is very effective for moving steam and cooking fumes up and out of the kitchen. But you want to check to see whether your existing hood vent is ducted or non-ducted. So you'll have to get a non-ducted microwave if you don't have a duct, or if you don't plan on running one up and out of your house.
So how could it be non-ducted?
So a lot of the older homes or condos I've seen where they don't have a duct, what you're going to have to check is open the cabinet above your hood vent and see whether you can see a duct. If you don't, then you're going to have to remove the old hood vent, because it could be going out the back of it and into a duct. But if there's no opening either above it or behind it, then it's non-ducted, and you're going to have a charcoal filter. And the charcoal filters are actually pretty effective for grabbing grease and oils from cooking. It traps and reduces odors. But the one
Is this something you have to change?
Yes, so you check your manual for your new microwave over the stove, see how often it should be replaced, and these are model specific, so you're going to have to get one that fits the unit that you purchased.
Okay.
You should also compare the amount of light levels for your stovetop. The more the better.
What do you mean?
So you're going to have lights under your microwave. They're going to shine down onto your cooktop or your stove.
Yeah.
And so it just makes it very convenient.
My parents have one of these microwaves, and it's like the hardest thing in the world to change those light bulbs.
Right.
You should do yoga beforehand. Because you're trying to bend underneath the microwave onto the stove.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Wiggle in there.
And it's like a precision screwdriver you need. So.
Right, yeah. Then, I would check that too. How easy is it to replace the ball? LED is the way to go.
And when they fall, the screw falls out, where did it go?
Right.
You should have a helper.
So with new microwaves, there are some amazing features. You can get convection microwaves. This has a heating element and a fan, and it's circulating hot air around the food, so you can actually bake in the microwave now. Convection microwaves are going to cook food faster. It's going to cook more evenly, and some models even brown food. You can make cakes, cookies, muffins, pizzas, and even roast meats in these convection microwaves.
You seem very excited about this.
And you can set the temperature just like a regular oven, so 225 to 450 in the microwave.
Wow.
And some of these, you can use the microwave and the convection at the same time.
Oh, no way.
There's also microwave grills. They have a heating element that's exposed so you can grill meat or vegetables. And some microwaves will have a combination of convection and grill features so you can heat or cook anything you would in a normal oven. So this is very versatile for smaller amounts of food, and you can switch between these cooking modes.
Interesting.
Steam microwaves have a water container that will allow you to steam vegetables or add moisture to food like fish, or you can keep your food from drying out when you're using the convection oven feature. And I saw a lot of these, it seemed like, in Europe. This is a very popular type of microwave.
You ever been to Europe?
No, I haven't.
Me neither. Thanks for asking.
With the grill or convection models, you get a warm feature to maintain the temperature of your food till you're ready to serve it. And for precise cooking or delicate recipes, you can get microwave.
Delicate?
Yeah, I was reading a bunch of these forums, and they were saying for certain types of gourmet cooking, you need to have very precise temperatures.
In your microwave?
Right. You're doing your gourmet cooking in your microwave.
Oh,
but this inverter technology, so when you set your microwave at 50%, you're going to get a 50% consistent power. So a traditional microwave is either fully on or fully off.
Right.
So with most microwaves, it's going to turn on and off in cycles to give you a 50% power, for example.
Right.
So you're not getting constant heat.
Well, because you can tell the change in the sound level that it makes.
Right, yeah.
When it goes from
exactly.
50%.
So inverters are going to give you constant power for food that needs to be heated very slowly, and it's going to do a much better job. So it's not going to overcook or cause boiling. You can melt chocolate without burning it, or you can defrost more effectively. When you're comparing the wattage of microwaves, they're going to range from around 600 to 1200 watts. And on a couple of these cooking forums, they're saying many of the microwave recipes are written for a microwave of 800 watts or higher, which is interesting. Most pros are recommending 1,000 watts or higher for large amounts of food, dense food, and they are going to cook your food more evenly. If you're looking for a microwave for an apartment or a college dorm, make sure there's no restrictions on the amount of watts. And most microwave doors are going to swing from right to left. Some are going to swing down or pull out, so you want to make sure you're picking the best for the location.
Okay.
The pre-programmed cooking times on microwaves are usually based on entering in the amount of the food or the weight, like potatoes is at 1 or 2. Some units are going to have a steam sensor that analyzes the amount of steam released by the food so you don't overcook it, which is interesting. Some sensors will actually turn off the microwave if the food gets too hot.
Okay.
Some microwaves have non-stick interiors, so it's much easier to clean. Others have fingerprint-resistant exteriors. Some units are going to have a night light, so you can find the microwave at night for a late-night snack.
And in case you forgot your layout of your kitchen.
Child locks are actually really good if you have a microwave grill or convection microwave. So the interior can get very hot. Some of them have exposed heating elements, so child lock is nice. ADA compliant microwaves are set at countertop height, and they have easy touch controls. I have some microwave tips. Don't boil eggs in your microwave. They'll explode. Pierce hot dogs, potatoes, or anything with an unbroken skin. Otherwise, they could potentially explode. And don't overheat liquids. So superheated water can erupt out of a container. If you have a very smooth container and water without a lot of impurities in it, it can heat past the boiling point without boiling. Then if you grab that container, or let's say you put a spoon in it, or you drop in something like coffee or sugar, it can actually erupt out of the container, causing burns, which is pretty amazing. So in some recipes, you'll see they tell you to put in a wooden spoon in the container, and that's to keep it from erupting. You want to be careful with any foods or liquids for babies and kids in a microwave. It could have hot spots or be undercooked. So you always want to test and stir thoroughly and then test again. And never use a microwave with nothing in it. You can damage the magnetron. Avoid most metal. You want to check your manual for what's acceptable. Recycled paper towels, napkins, and wax paper can have small metal flakes in it, and it can actually cause a fire.
Wow.
Check all containers that they're microwave safe, and don't use tight sealing lids on containers. They can overcook the food or blow off when you open them. That way they're a burn risk. And one of the frequently asked questions I saw was about pacemakers, and most pacemakers are shielded, so microwaves aren't a problem. But if I had a pacemaker, I'd probably check with my doctor.
Do you have any other tips?
I have a cleaning tip.
So yes.
So take a cup of water and a cup of white vinegar in a microwave bowl. Put a wooden spoon in it to prevent superheating, and then put it on high for about 10 minutes. It's going to create a steam that's going to break down stuck-on particles. Open it up and then wipe down the inside with either a sponge or a microfiber cloth.
How long do microwaves normally last?
So most pros are saying probably 10 to 12 years, the average microwave.
I think we should share some tips on installing a microwave over the range.
Okay.
Do you have any?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, we did one at your mom's house.
I know, I was there. I was filming.
So the key thing is knowing whether it's ducted or non-ducted, and then is it coming up through the upper cabinet or is it going out the back? So when you get an over-the-range microwave, it's going to be in this big box. One tip is taking a box cutter and cut all along the bottom. So I would come up about a half an inch from the bottom, cut all around the bottom, and this will allow you to lift off the cardboard straight up. And it's usually going to have some styrofoam packing, or you've got the extra cardboard. I would use that if you have an existing microwave above the stove. Then I would use this as protection over your stove as you're taking down the old one.
Right, because that was insane that you wanted me to hold the old microwave while you were trying to unscrew it.
Right, you were my helper, of course.
Yeah, but I'm like, and what am I supposed to do with it?
So we used some of the styrofoam and put it over the top. And I was able to lean it down myself and just lay it there rather than
It was my idea.
Right, it was very good. So in most of the over-the-stove or over-the-range microwaves, you're going to have 2 or 3 bolts right above the front edge. So inside the cabinet on that front edge, you're going to have to unscrew a couple of bolts. You're just going to loosen them. Slowly drop down the front of the microwave, and the back is connected to a bracket generally on the wall behind it, and you're going to have to lift this up and set it down. You're going to unplug the microwave, and you're going to have to feed that power cord through a hole that's been put into that upper cabinet.
Right.
On the new microwave, depending on where the unit is vented, you may have to flip the position of the blower.
Right.
And it's usually held in place by just a couple screws. You take it loose and you flip it, whether it's going to be blowing up or out the back. And then you're going to have a template because the screws probably aren't going to line up the same way, or the bracket. So when we did your mom's project and I'm trying to hold that up and work over the range, that paper...
It was not successful.
It kept folding.
Right.
I hated the template that they had. So what I did was I used the cardboard from the box, and I cut the cardboard to the size of this paper template, and I taped it together. And now I had this solid piece of cardboard that I held up, and then I used a drill, and I drilled my pilot hole so that the bolts would go up through it, and then I made sure that the hole lined up for the power cord. You may have to adjust the position of that too.
Well, because my mom, when she bought the new microwave, she made sure it was the same make and model.
And the width.
Yeah, but it was completely different. I mean, over years they changed the way it was
the
set
bracket
up.
was different, so we had to change that. And you need to get into some studs because some of these are pretty heavy. So make sure you have a stud finder and line that up. And then it's good to have a helper.
Right. You're welcome. So you should watch our video on installing my mom's microwave.
Fix It Home Improvement on YouTube.
Do you have any top-rated companies?
GE, Panasonic, RCA, Kenmore, Samsung, LG, and it's just the letters L and G. I didn't spell today.
I know.
So.
Wow, I was freaking out.
Toshiba, Sharp, Frigidaire, and Whirlpool.
Do you have anything else to add?
You're going to get your best performance out of a 1,000-watt unit or higher. Convection microwaves are very versatile. You can really do a lot of different cooking styles. Look at the power cord length for countertop models, especially, depending on where you want it and where you have an outlet. And then what features, what type of cooking are you going to be doing? There's a lot of really interesting new features. If you're getting an over-the-range microwave, make sure you're comparing the fan, the light, and the vent style.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, the Spotify mobile app, the Google Play Music app, iHeartRadio, and CastBox.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our books, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter @FixItCohost.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.